Still record it. Okay. I'm going to share a browser. This is going to make my video windows really funny. I wonder if we'll have to turn on. Do people hear the chimes when people are joining and leaving? Yes? Okay, hopefully that doesn't get too bothersome, but we'll try and roll with it. Real quick, let me intro August. August is with us. He's a RepairShopr. We've also got Bobby from RepairShopr in here. August is doing sales and community stuff and support, and Bobby is basically heading up support. Who else do we have in here from the RepairShopr team? Maybe Chelsea? Feel free to say hi if you want, Chelsea, if you're on here.
Hi.
So this is some of this team. Does everyone see the Facebook page that's shared with the poll on it? And my friends list? Maybe I can, oh, whatever. I don't know what to do. So maybe I'll share my screenshot instead. Number one item was ticketing best practices, 31 votes. Number two, secret tricks or less known functionality. That is one of my favorite things. People think we have a lot of secret stuff. We have a couple secret things, but I mean, really, it's just, if you click every link, you'll find them all. Inventory best practices. I would probably want someone to clarify what they're hoping for when we get to that. Reports, not my personal favorite thing in the world, but happy to get into that. Automation ideas, marketer campaigns. Yeah, we can brainstorm marketer campaign ideas. Automation ideas. I'd be happy to do like deep dive in Zapier, talk about webhooks, talk about how to build your own stuff that integrates. And then, yeah, let's just do like open Q&A and go for an hour and see how this goes. We'll have a hard stop in just under an hour because I'm going to go pick up my kid from school. But hey, we can do another one of these if people like it and want to do more. Where's my chat window? Make chat bigger. Yes, that was my music. I was setting the tone. I realized I was talking over it after a second. Ticketing best practices. Does anyone want to add clarifications to what they're hoping to get out of that? Or should I talk about how I like to use ticketing for a couple minutes and see if that piques any interest?
I think that'd be awesome to see kind of how you your ticket flow works, I guess, from check-in of a customer to through the process. See if it's different than what we do.
Yeah. Also, I'm in the beta. I'm not in the beta UI on this account. So we'll roll with that. I'm going to be using old UI. Some people are in new beta UI. That's fine. It should be similar enough. Our demo account has like most every optional setting ever built, like turned on, plus some secret ones. So sometimes you'll see me doing something and it might not be turned on. Feel free to ping us. We can help you turn stuff on. So I'll go through a ticket flow, and this is going to be a little bit, it might seem basic at first, but maybe we'll get into some more advanced stuff if questions come up during. So in my shop, the way the software was designed, it was basically, the intended flow was a customer walks into your computer repair shop and you type their name and see if they've been in before. If you think you identify them, hey, we found someone. You'd go to the customer detail page where you can see everything about them. You can see kind of like their profile. This is where I would have all my staff jump over to this page, make sure all their tickets are resolved, make sure all their invoices are paid. We don't want to see an unpaid invoice when we're checking in a new job. Hey, you still owe us money somehow. So we would go to that customer detail page, skim it real quick, see how much revenue this person's done, and then do a new ticket from here. I always did new ticket from this button. Some people go to tickets and hit the new button. It's perfectly fine if you do that. That was never my flow because I wanted to make sure I saw the customer and had an idea of what was going on before I did it. That one, new ticket, does an autocomplete thing. Oh, we're using the new ticket flows on demo. Okay, I'm just going to close that tab. I actually don't have much hands-on experience with that feature, so hopefully no one asks me about that one. So, new ticket from customer detail page. I would always type something pretty friendly, like the example text in there, Dell with bad DC jack, or HP with potential virus or something. A lot of times we get a question about what's issue type versus custom field type. Issue type is supposed to be the category, like hardware, software, laptop, whatever. Custom field type was meant to replace that, and issue type was going to go away. So you were going to just have one. Ryan's down his hands up. So issue type was supposed to go away. You were supposed to do issue type here, and then those would be connected to custom fields. And we got partway through it and got cold feet on forcing everyone to migrate and stopped discussing it. And hey, they're both in there now. So you've got two ways to categorize things that do slightly different things, but they can accomplish the same thing. So whatever, hardware, computer check-in. Do we have a computer repair one? Hey, that's a cool one. So we've got a custom field type for computer. That's not a hardware. Do we have a virus issue type? Hey. I always ignored priority, personally. That was added by request, but I didn't use it in my shop. I did make sure to do a nice, complete description that was going to be emailed out to the customer. Do we have a canned in here? Intake. Hey, that looks good. You can tell this to do not email by default in the settings. I think this is this way on our demo account just so we don't send fake emails, but in my shop, I always wanted that to email. My personal feeling is customers can't get too many emails when you're working on their computer. If you email someone 10 times on a virus removal, most people are probably happy with the over communication. It doesn't take much effort to ignore one email when your computer's in the shop, but you know what's going on at all times. So I liked to over email. In our shop, I had a flyer on the wall that was like, every ticket must have 5 comments. And can I remember what they were? This is 2011. It was the welcome, the diagnostic, the confirmation of their approval. Okay, thank you for approving. We're going to proceed with the repair. And then maybe like, hey, it's going to be done soon and then done or something like that. The last two. I don't really remember, but I could pull that up if I had to. Due date is calculated. I had that turned off, but for the demo account, we've got it turned on. It can be some, I think by default, it's like 3 days in the future, and you can set it in the settings. I skipped all this. We have a bunch of fancy stuff turned on here with the contract and SLAs, but I would do those fields, maybe the custom field thing, and hit create.
What was it?
If someone has a question, feel free to interrupt. Go ahead and jump in. We have worksheets attached here if anyone wants to get into what worksheets are.
I know, but did you tell them? Oh, you went.
Weird, I'm hearing sound from Quantum, but it says you're muted. Okay, there's questions. Hey, Bobby, if you're reading questions and I'm ignoring them because I'm just going, can you yell and tell me to answer questions?
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and read a couple questions. Ticket workflow, would love to see the address search. Yeah, that's a good one. We should write that down.
I'm already talking to people about it to get it added back in.
Sounds Troy, can you hand me the Facebook page? I just requested. I'm not the one that does the joins, but Sean will probably check if you look like a real repair business. He usually adds everyone really fast. Did those worksheets come from the issue type? Yes. There's a password field. How did that get added? Ticket custom fields. Is it possible to list issue type alphabetically? Yes, if you delete them and re-add them in alphabetical order. Okay, let's talk about ticket custom fields and worksheets for a second. So in admin, if you are on a deep dive Q&A call, you probably want to know about features in depth. This giant thing with all these links is where everything is. I highly encourage you to be an explorer and go click every single link. You could probably spend hours in there clicking all those links and trying to figure out what all this stuff does. Definitely in the ticket section. Workflows is the brand new feature that just came out. Templates is boring. Canned responses are those little one-click insert text things I was doing. Ticket custom fields is where you get the password field that I think is what was asked about there that popped in. And ticket worksheets are like predefined checklists that you can have automatically pop into tickets. So you could have a lot of times like a cell phone repair shop. It has to do, an inspection of the phone to make sure it's working. You could do the same on a laptop, but hey, when you're checking it in, let's make sure all the buttons work. Does the Wi-Fi work? Does the CD-ROM, if they still have those, spin, whatever. Like you can make a worksheet, checklist of things to check at an intake. That's a perfect use case for a worksheet. So ticket custom fields, you can create custom field types, which think of it kind of like a ticket category. Virus removal, phone repair, screen repair, whatever. General computer repair could be a category. Here's a computer repair one. Then you can hit manage fields and you can add custom fields. You can hide them from the PDF. So if you have the custom fields showing up on the PDF that you're going to hand the customer, you may want to hide, maybe there's an internal one. Internal notes, this customer is not in the best mood today. Maybe that doesn't need to go on the PDF that you're going to print for the customer. It's a bad example, but it illustrates the point. Custom field types, or the ticket custom field types, can also drive intake form, outtake form, and worksheets. So automatically, is there more down the bottom? No. So from here you can say, when I create a ticket with this custom field type, automatically put these 3 worksheets on that ticket for my technicians to go through. That's what you're seeing here. And then you can override terms and conditions. You can skip it. So maybe you've got an intake, maybe you've got a custom field type that's like sales call. You can skip the intake form because you don't want them to sign anything for your sales call ticket. What are worksheets exactly? Worksheets are probably better to just look at. So when you're on a ticket, this is a worksheet. Your technicians you can put fields, drop downs, text boxes, check boxes on a ticket, and it can think of it like a checklist, but it can be more than check boxes. And your techs fill them out, and these are collaborative. If you have this open in 2 tabs, like 2 technicians are working on it in different parts of the shop, it's going to do the Google Docs thing where, like, when I hit pass on this tab, this other tab is going to update, and it's going to show who did it. That was really fun technology to make work. They highlight so you notice the page changing. Something bad.
Somebody also asked, I don't know if you saw it, about the password vault and how to connect the custom fields.
Yeah, the password vault. Do we have one on here? No. What was the specific question about password vault? Just what is it? Talk about it for a second.
The question was, does that password custom field integrate into the password vault feature?
No. The password vault is too secure for anything to integrate with. It is using PGP in the browser. We never get the password. And maybe it's technically possible for us to use a public key and encrypt stuff into it, but my understanding is the password can only be in the browser and for that session. And server side, we have no code to interact with it at all. It's literally just big encrypted block in the browser. So it's very secure. It's just a place for you to put notes. No one can read it but you, ever. Nothing will probably ever integrate to it. We will probably do a masked field that stars out, and you'll have a button to display that'll be like half secure, not encrypted in the database, and we will have access to it to do things like integrations and have stuff come in and out of it programmatically. Right now, the vault is too secure for anything. It's PGP in the browser. It's unbreakable, unable to be programmatically tied into. I find worksheets are great for checklists during repairs. Yes. I've even tried to use them for project management. Like I was doing a new server install domain project that probably should be in something like Trello or proper project management software, but I just went and made a worksheet template real quick for like Active Directory, server, rebuild, replace, and put a bunch of stuff in a checklist just to give some kind of guideposts for the technicians to work on, and it worked pretty well. We're working on an idea to try and make these ad hocable so you can just kind of have a to-do list, basically, on a ticket. It could use the worksheet tech on our list. Do you have shops that have Field Nation tickets come into the RS ticketing system? Any tips on that? I've seen people talk about it. I have not physically seen it, and I don't know if anyone's doing anything special with it. Do the ticket worksheets work with Android and iOS apps? Yes, they do. The tickets are very, very well supported in the mobile apps. Use password vault for clients, Apple ID, are they logging in? Yep. Good idea. Perfect spot for that, I'd say. Domain admin credentials, that kind of stuff. Stick it in the vault. And in my shop, we actually just used a wiki, and we put everyone's Active Directory credentials in there, but I always felt like that's a little too risky for like all the domain admin credentials to be in a wiki that could be hacked. Where can I go to review the password stored? If you export tickets to CSV, all the custom fields are concatenated into a column in the ticket export. That's one place. Feature guys, make that wiki secure so we can do that. It is secure. It's just, it's as secure as web software can be, but it's not as secure as PGP. So, hey, what's your risk level with domain admin credentials? So if they were in ticket custom fields, the way to export is the ticket export to CSV. If they're in the password vault, there is no way. I cannot think of another way. Bobby, can you think of another way to get custom field data out? And you could use the API. So happy to talk about API stuff all day. It's a big part of what I do, tying systems together. Okay, so generally, I'm going to jump back to this and keep watching for, how can I use the password information? If you take someone's computer password at check-in and it's in the custom fields, you will see it on the next screen, the ticket details screen. I'll show that in 2 seconds. Okay, so you can minimize the ticket worksheets. That's unless you're going to use one right here at check-in during the intake form. Maybe just minimize them. I had a monitor with a touch screen on a Lazy Susan, and I would rotate it, show them initial issue. Hey, tech name didn't work. Bobby, is that a known bug, or did we do something bad there? Anyways, we'll write that.
Tech name.
If you're not assigned, if you don't assign it to somebody, I think it.
Oh, that's the tech, not me. Okay. I saw a bug for that. That needs to be blank if it's not assigned. Okay, terms and conditions, signature thing. The signature, if anyone's not using this, it's pretty slick. You can use mouse, touchpad, touchscreen monitor, iPhone, USB signature thing. Supports lots of stuff. And then when you sign it, that triggers like a print job if you want to use Auto Printer or Google Cloud Print to automatically print them like a ticket receipt. I always printed 2 copies. One I taped to the computer, one I handed to them. I was using Google Cloud Print back in the day when my shop was going, but Auto Printer is what we're kind of steering more toward now. I know it's had problems, but I think overall it's still faster and more reliable than Google Cloud Print. Can I set up auto printer on more than one PC? You can. It doesn't want to use Windows shared printers like the / computer name, double click the printer, that version, because that is session based. When you log out of Windows, those disappear. When you log back in, they reappear. So auto printer running as a background service as system can't get to the printer that just got disconnected because you logged out. It's a whole can of worms. So every computer that has a printer physically plugged into it or network IP port hooked up to it can run another copy of auto printer, and that's totally fine. Adding on to Howard's question, I guess I don't understand what the PGP vault is supposed to be used for. Is that passive on the limit ticket? Those are in all the custom fields, so you can put them on a customer. If you had a business user that had Active Directory and you're a domain admin, you could put their domain admin password on the customer custom field password vault. If it's just some home user's like laptop password that maybe isn't like the most important thing in the world to have uber encrypted, you can just use a text custom field. In my shop, I wanted people's passwords like written on a little piece of paper with a pencil and not stored in the system, and then we would like shred them after every job. I didn't want to be collecting thousands of passwords into the system that a technician could just export to CSV. So I guess my personal preference, hey, my video froze again. My personal preference was don't use custom fields for passwords. If you use the password vault, at least you can still access it by clicking it and typing the password. That's fine, although it's a little annoying to type the password every page load. It's probably worth it for really important stuff like someone's Active Directory. I'm sure many people would have slightly differing opinions on how important someone's password is to protect or what that surface area is for risk. But can you stick that into the wiki? You definitely can. But in my shop, I use the wiki for that. What I would probably do today, knowing the feature set of RepairShopr, is I would put everything about the network in the wiki, and the actual domain admin password would be off in a vault field. So you'd have the router, IPs, ISP info, ISP, customer service number, account number, everything you need to be able to call the ISP when there's an outage, everything you need to be able to, how do I get to the router? Is there a router on a non-standard IP address? Maybe the router is not .1, it's .2. I'm going to document that in the wiki. It's really good to put all that in the wiki. And then 5 years ago, I probably would have put a domain admin password there too. And probably today, I would put that in a password vault field because it's there. Wait, so you can use password vault feature in the wiki? No, you would have to click over to the customer. You could put a link to the customer in the wiki page and make it easy to click over. Right now, the vault isn't in the wiki. Could be coming soon though. It shows how to organize the wiki. We didn't have a wiki template. Yeah, so we've got this huge spec for a wiki rebuild, and it's like all these beautiful screenshots right now. Hopefully it materializes soon. For now, what I did was make one nice network outline page and then just go copy paste it each time I needed to set up a new one and replace all the fields. So do we have an example in here? Bobby, do you know if this same, I'm gonna type a DM. Never mind, maybe I'll just pause sharing and go look up another copy I know I have, but wiki optical distributor. Hey, we started to. Yeah, I'm gonna pause the share for a sec and look up a better one. I think it's in a different account.
Troy, while you're looking that up, I have a really cool thing that I think a lot of people would like to know about partial refunds. It's kind of a glitch if you're interested in having it shared.
Okay.
I mean, it's a good thing. I figured out how to make the refund issue function with a workaround. I've showed it to like Chuck and a couple other people, and it's kind of a lifeline.
That's
If we
a
got
pretty
time.
that's a pretty big pivot from tickets, but I think it's a good topic.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at a list. If we have time, you can come back to me.
Let's come back to it because I think I'm there. Edit, resume share. Can I paste? So basically, this is my screen sharing again. Why is that edit button not looking like a button? Yes. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff I would do. I don't have, this isn't a template, but it was like printer 10.0.0.10 admin driver link. So we kind of did stuff like this. We just made a section for WAN, LAN, we put ISP info in there. That's not a good phone number. Comcast. Yay, Comcast. Does that, Matthew, this isn't like the fullest example ever, but it's what I was able to come up. If anyone has one they want to share, and they can stick a link somewhere on Imager or something. Feel free to drop it in the chat. I had some that were like this, but 10 pages long, because it would list like each of their locations, the Seattle location, the Portland location, and then we'd copy and paste the section and keep going. Ooh, you can do file share in here. What does that do? Is this a template, or can I paste it in? Jesse, is it okay if I paste this into the page while people are seeing? Yep, okay, I'm gonna try it. Hold on, everybody. So he pasted HTML, so I'm gonna go source code and paste and okay. And, ooh, you made anchor tags. This is good. So these like jump down to the section because of the hash link. That is so nice. Thank you, Jesse. Okay, I'm gonna scroll it slowly so everyone can see it. Wireless info. You're selling the wiki for me, Jesse. Thank you. Network settings, site 1, LAN. Back to top. Fancy. Network diagram, embed here. You just Imager these or Dropbox link them, or you can use your imagination. Okay, Ryan wants to go back. Okay, we'll go back. Thank you for sharing that text file. Everyone can look at that in there. At least you saw how to paste in the source. When you're looking at, for the non-HTML folks viewing, when you're looking at all the angle brackets and stuff, you're looking at the HTML version. That was like the plain text version they shared. So you can tools, source code, and paste, and it'll keep all that pretty formatting. If you're pasting from like Word, just paste into this view. It'll try to keep formatting. This is just like an open source HTML editor. It's really hard to find a good one, but this is a pretty good one. Okay, so wiki, worksheets, we're in a ticket. Didn't we go to the ticket already? I thought we did. From the ticket, one of the favorite things that I like to show that I think many people probably aren't doing is the labor log. I would turn it on so that minutes spent was required, and I defaulted to public note. Why did it say note? Because we're in the demo account. We have everyone set to do not email, probably. I would have public email as my default, and minutes spent required. And basically, anytime you're doing anything, hey, we looked at the computer, we've started the virus scanners, we'll have an update for you in a few hours. Minutes spent, 20, public note. I'll just type it. Hang on.
Yeah, Troy, this account is has email and stuff turned off because it's all fake data.
This is about that labor, about that timer entry. So which labor rate do you want to use? How many minutes? Charge now will make it a ticket charge. Put it in the shopping cart and make it like very real. Just putting the 20 here, we'll put it in the timer log, and you can go back to later and click charge on the ones you deem are billable. So that enables workflow where maybe one of our employees, we would say, you put 20 minutes every time you touch anything and you never do charge time now. And then my manager would go through later at the end of the day, end of the shift, whatever, find which ones should be billable and hit charge on them. Okay. Public note, you got some minutes spent on there. And then basically, I'm going to just hand wave over it so we can maybe jump to more topics. But I would have everyone add charges, do parts orders when needed, email people at least 5 times on every ticket. There could be another 5 private comments like, this virus is really hard. I spent an hour on it. I'll pick it back up tomorrow. Or I called this customer 3 times. They won't answer their phone. Let's give them another month before we like recycle the computer. That kind of thing would be in private notes. Talking between yourselves, a note for yourself for later. Hey, I found this screen on eBay. Here's a link to it. So that stuff will go in private notes. But basically everything else, public. I want 5 public things on every ticket. Everyone does that differently. That's what I do. Okay. I use this for the lucid chart. You could do similar. iframe. Yep, that's cool. What does do you want to restore your previously entered info? Yeah. There's this thing in here where if you start typing and then like leave the page and come back, it tries to make you not lose your stuff you typed. Okay, I hit refresh, it's gone. Click that, it puts it back. So that's like an autosave thing. I've seen it be imperfect where if you're just goofing around in here, it thinks you changed something and it wants to prompt you to restore it when maybe all you did was nothing. But that's what it's doing, and hopefully it's more helpful than annoying. Can we make those items that aren't charged now a separate later item like unbilled labor so we can get some nice metrics? Reporting on labor, billable versus unbillable. Bobby, is there a report for that already?
There is the pending charges, the not pending charges, and then there is several different product reports that you can pull that information from too.
I think what this question is saying is you could have $0 labor line items and then it might show up in product sales report.
It'll only show up in product sales report if the product is invoiced. If it's just on a ticket, it won't be there.
If someone has a suggestion for better ways to view report, better ways to get report data out for the labor log, we are definitely open to it. We are working on a customer profit and loss report where you'll be able to look at a customer, maybe a business repeat customer is the primary use case we're thinking of, but you'll be able to look at a customer run a report and see this is how much time we spent, this is how much that time was billable, this is how much that time cost us. Okay, add a custom field in the invoice. Custom field to Ryan, can you speak on how to add it? All you can eat. How do you handle that workflow? A lot of people like this ticketing, tracking billable and unbillable. I think we need to drill into this more on another call.
There is a report that lets you see the charges for billed versus unbilled. It's like I think it's ticket time tracking. It's that middle report.
Otherwise, we have line items, or we have products called like MSP covered labor or VIP covered labor that are billable for $0 but have an associated cost, and you can run those as long as they're invoiced.
That's a really good method if you want to get that extra detail into like a P&L type.
You can also, what Chuck has tried is create a separate payment method, as stupid as it is, called MSP covered labor, and then you pay it out with that payment method, and you can run a report on that. Unfortunately, that reports as revenue, and it throws off your tax reports. So if you can break that out of tax reports, it does work.
I do not recommend that one. I like the first one a lot. I think it'll have the least likelihood of breaking other things down the road. The payment method thing could make a mess. Build, yes, no. So this isn't really fun to look at, but it's going to get you the data. I prefer like a chart per customer, maybe percentages. It's just, yeah. I mean, if people haven't asked for that one very often. For the MSP thing, if you've got an all-you-can-eat, let me step back one sec. Go back to our original Facebook poll and see what kind of stuff we're leaving out, because we're going to approach a hard stop in 30 minutes. I feel like we're on ticketing best practices, secret jigs, list non functionality, inventory, reports, marketer, automation, Zapier. I just really wanted to get to Zapier, and I don't think it's going to be possible. What is the best VoIP to use with your software? FlowRoute. FreePBX is integrated pretty well. Brian's done a lot of cool stuff with tracking outbound calls too. Good job, Ryan. Thank you for sharing that with everybody. Is it possible to set up time tracking to run the fixed amount? It is not right now. I wish it was. We definitely want to do it. There's just so much that we want to build. It's on one of those lists that we track and look at periodically. And doesn't come up. Okay, so let's look at like an all-you-can-eat flow where you want to track all the time and maybe not bill any of it. Or maybe you want to. There's a bunch of ways to do this. You could set up a contract where a certain labor rate is called all-you-can-eat labor and it's 0. You can manually use that labor, or you can do it via contracts. You can have them be ticket charges and not invoice it, and have a recurring invoice automatically pick up all those, scoop them up as a bunch of $0 charges. Maybe I should show that flow. Can you elaborate on FreePBX? I'll show the page real fast. In the App Center, if you've got FreePBX, like Rent PBX or Asterisk, you know, those flavors of things, they have a caller ID lookup plugin where you can use a web request to do a caller ID lookup. We hook into that, so we give you the settings. Hey, that link looks bad. We should fix that link text. Does that work?
My video that I did recently, Troy, has like examples of mine pretty much in plain text for anyone to see if they want to watch that too.
Sweet. Is that on Facebook? Can you link it in the Zoom chat?
It's on the Facebook group. If you go to the videos tab of the Facebook group, it's like one of only 5 videos there. So one of those is me. Yeah. It's that one. Yeah.
Okay. Link. Back. Link. I don't know if that works, but I have incoming set up in PBX. Can't log outgoing to ticket also. Yes. Ryan, does your video cover that? You muted.
Yeah, I showed everyone how it works. It is literally a script kiddie version of it. I'm literally injecting the outbound caller ID into all outbound calls. It is not the right way to do it, but it works amazing, and I can live without it. And yeah, I can't make it work with 3CX though. I can't make it work with Debian.
It does work with 3CX.
Okay.
I bet we have some 3CX people here. What people are doing is, hey, my video froze. They give you a soft client that you install on your computer. It can trigger something when a call comes in. Oh yeah, there was an issue with that. It pops open a browser to the URL and you can put in the phone number. So you can pop that URL where the tab, you can pop that URL, the caller ID URL, demo/API caller ID with the DID phone number. You can do that in the 3CX client, and it does the same exact thing, but it pops up in the browser. I know you can write a PowerShell to do the same invoke web request. Same if you're using intermediate also, but super annoying because it pops up in a browser, right? Jesse, is that why it's annoying? I know you can PowerShell it, and then your PowerShell window can kill itself. I don't have one of these accounts to test, but I've had to write a lot of PowerShell lately, and I'm sure it's possible. So there's your lead.
The concept is really simple enough. It's just posting that data before every single call that goes out. That way, if you're not using an app, it'll work. I've literally gotten 95% of the way. If someone was as bored as I was at that point, they could figure it out, I promise.
Yep, I agree. So, ticket charges, yes. So, I feel like I need like a scratch pad or a wiki page or something. Let's do this exercise for a second, everybody. Ticket timer handling. Okay. So there's you have a ticket. I want to use the numbered thing. You have a ticket. You can add labor entries, or these are timer entries. Put in quotes. You can add timer entries, non-billable. Track those in a report somewhat manually. You can add timer entries billable with a $0 labor rate. These will be ticket charges. You can invoice these at that time, or you can, I call these, roll these up into a recurring invoice using the add unbilled charges. Sorry, that's me. I have a Raspberry Pi on my desk that makes a noise when I have an appointment coming because I always ignore my calendar notifications and miss appointments. I can share that Ruby script if anyone wants it. It uses the RepairShopr API to get your calendar synced from Google Calendar. You can invoice them at the time. You can roll them up. You can have your techs use billable non-zero labor and use a contract to override price to 0. These look good as numbers. Okay. Is there more than this, Bobby? Ryan, anyone? Are these the ways? So
Those are the ways.
these are the ways. We don't show bullets in our formatting. When can we have contract templates so we can have all the price orders automatically populate? That is a good question. I'm not really able to. I'll do this work with feeding voice as well. Okay, more VoIP stuff. I'm gonna switch off of VoIP for a minute because it's too fun, and this is a good subject to be digging into. So let's show the contract one real quick. Maybe use the raise hand feature in Zoom if you want to see like one or two, or how can we do this? Can I make a poll or something? Another question? No, I can't. I'll do that later. What do people want to see? Maybe put in the chat? First one, second one, or the last one? 223. Last one, none. We don't need any none votes. We want to show these for a sec. This This is why people do webinars. All the questions are anonymous and private. Hey, everyone wants to do what Troy wants to do. What do you know? Ryan, please don't put pictures in. I don't trust you. Okay, let's do the last one. So, contracts. We have contracts on here. We have a customer, Abby Benson has too many contracts. Carl Benson has one. Let's test with him. Whoa, there's so many. Oh, we have PD Eastman. He wrote Go Dog Go. Okay, so you make a contract. The idea with a contract is to store the physical document that you had your customer sign, so you don't like lose track of it when you actually set them up on your master service agreement or whatever contract you had set up. And then it gives you just a place to put an end date in case you want to scroll this list and sort things by end date or have an alert when contract's about to expire. In my MSP business, I would frequently forget when someone's contract was going to expire, and I didn't think putting it something 3 years out made sense on an Outlook calendar or something. But coming back here was good. So this worked for my use case. I'm sure it doesn't work for some, but what it does lets you do start date, end date, store a document, and then you can do contract pricing. So here, this example, remote support labor is set to $0 for this customer. So if I'm doing a ticket for this customer, email profile rebuild, software, Julie called about a broken Outlook profile, create. I shouldn't have an intake form on this. This is not the smoothest example ever, but I'm just gonna kind of wing it here. So we work on it. We say remoted into Julie's computer and rebuilt profile. We're going to do remote support labor, 60 minutes, charge now. Now we should see in here, there's one charged at $0. We can close this ticket and we're done. Now, if I were to make an invoice for this customer, I'd see that in the shopping cart, and I could, where's my wiki? Is this the stuff I was gonna, no, wiki, sorry, trying to remember exactly which flow I was gonna show. Yeah, then let's combine this into this option, because that's fun. So if I did make a new invoice for this person, do I have one unpaid? Hey. Pending ticket charges, remote support labor, that's that $0 one we just did. And then if we had a recurring invoice for this person set up to go monthly, that ticket's been resolved, we've all moved on. And then in their recurring invoice, do I have a recurring invoice?
It's under the section called invoices. You have to toggle it. Show recurring templates. There you go.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay. Check the box. Add any pending ticket charges from shopping cart. So what this would do at the end of the month, it finds that charge that you added on that closed ticket that's sitting there that hasn't been put on an invoice, and it will put it on an invoice at $0. The invoice line item will look like this. It's this one, discounted per contract, and it's going to talk about all the things we did. We did the subject email, profile rebuild. We have, oh, this used a prepay hour. Well, it does the same thing with the contract. This customer happened to also have prepay hours. This is what happens when I live demo on a demo account. Okay. I just have like 100 prepay hours, so you can eat contract hours deducted. Exactly what we just saw. This person has prepaid hours. That works too. And then you don't have to fiddle with the contract override, although depending on your team and having salespeople and what your engineers look like, different flows could work for different situations. But I didn't see an easy way to auto renew a contract. Auto renew a contract. I'd be happy to talk about that one. It'd be great if Kubota integration added the contract for AV monitor expiration. We'll have to think about that one. It should handle that automatically if you're buying the licenses from Caputo. I know if you bring your own license, all bets are off. Bringing your own license is really just unsupported, basically. It's kind of a side feature.
Hey, Troy, it's coming up on 2:30.
Good reminder. My phone's going to blow up here in a second, too. I'll try and get to a couple more. Any burning desires? Everybody? We really didn't get very far in that list.
Yeah, I also want to mention real quick for everybody, sorry to interrupt, that we're definitely going to want to be doing more of these, and we'll try to get more of those polls out for everyone so that we can kind of be prepared to talk about more subjects for everybody to get a lot of info out of the meetings.
Yeah. If we post a link and lots of people subscribe or register for the event, we'll do more of these.
I think we definitely got some value out of this meeting. We don't use workflow specifically in our ticketing, so just seeing you kind of go through and inside your demo and watching you work around in there, we picked up a few things that we're going to add to our list. So definitely this type of meeting does add value, even if we didn't have a direct call to action for topics to go through. We thought it was cool.
Cool. Yeah, I would have a really hard time doing this level of depth and hitting a bunch of subjects because people ask, I just want to go deeper and deeper and deeper and get to that stuff that.
Well, we had some moments where we're like, what the hell is that? Why aren't we doing that? Or where did that come from? So that's exactly what we were kind of looking for, was just some inspiration inside the platform for areas we might have overlooked, or we kind of become complacent using it all the time every day. So this is cool.
Thank you. Just catching up on the comments, the $0 invoices thing, yeah, that's annoying. You do have to go mark them as paid or they clog things up. They don't go to QuickBooks, that's true. Do they need to? We can talk about any of these things offline. Start of an inventory item, does that recurring invoices, what happens? It probably breaks. Don't do that. Have a link, appointment automatically to existing ticket. I don't think you can. Cool. Okay. I'm going to stop reading the chat. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Hope that didn't feel too haphazard, and like Quantum PC, everyone hopefully got some value out of that, and give us some feedback. We'll send a follow-up email asking how that was for you. So, thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Troy. It was nice seeing everybody in here, too. If you guys do this again, we jump in.
Cool. All right. Have a good one.
See ya.